high quality manufacturing, innovative solutions, techniques, high-end service jobs. Those are the kinds of things that we have to be preparing people for. And what that means is a view on education that goes beyond just getting people through and accredited, but actually giving them the learning that's going to lead them to succeed.
All right. How are you going to motivate students to vote?
The fundamental challenge is making sure that students understand that voting is a meaningful way of changing the world. That's what people don't believe anymore. People think that there are no real solutions out there and that politics is just a self-sustaining system that doesn't have much of an impact on the real world. And that's why events like this, where I actually talk about the way we need to tackle these issues in a way that is including people's reflections and thinking, is a big part of it.
Excellent. And do you have any plans for dealing with the student debt crisis?
Yeah, I mean, a big part of the debt crisis is the uncertainty that those debts are going to be able to be paid off. Nobody would be as worried about going into debt if they knew that 5 years from now they would be more than able to pay off that debt. It's the idea of having a further drag, not just not being able to find a job, but not being able to find a job and having a big debt sitting on your back. And that's where there's a number of things that the government should be looking at, whether it's around repayments of schedules of loans, tying it to income the way Australia has done some interesting movements around that can be profoundly reassuring. Also looking at how we create RESPs that will actually follow people throughout their lives. Because the fact is, yes, students need support with education, but people in their 30s and 40s who are changing jobs will need to go back and train and reschool in certain things, especially given the pace of change around. And being able to count on savings that will follow you your whole life to help you be lifelong learners are some of the solutions that we're looking at.
Perfect.
Harper has been slowly dismantling the welfare state. Would you rebuild it?
I think we need to understand what the needs and the responsibilities of a state are in the 21st century. No, it's not time to reimagine going back to the way our social services were in the 70s. I think that's something that is far gone. Civil society has a much stronger role to play in that, and where government can help in a strategic way is boosting opportunities. Something like housing, for example, making sure that government is investing in a housing strategy that allows people to be secure, whether it's being able to afford buying a new home as a first-time home buyer, or whether it's low-income folks who need that stability so that they can aspire to something greater. There are roles for the government, which is just a way to offer services that otherwise wouldn't be hit, but government can't do everything, and nor should it.
Canada's large urban regions are generators of economic development and vibrant hubs of cultural diversity. At the same time, they face a range of significant pressures, from settling new immigrants to replacing aging infrastructure. What we're trying to get a sense out of this is, what is your urban agenda?
Well, the first part of my urban agenda is bringing on Adam Vaughan as a really strong voice for our cities. From Trinity Spadina, a very strong municipal councillor with a big preoccupation around housing, around transit, around really city-centered issues. I mean, one of the challenges we have is that when the Confederation that we're going to be celebrating 150 years of in a couple of years, when that happened, Canada was 80% rural, 20% in cities. And now that's completely flipped. We're 80% urban and suburban and only 20% rural. But our framework, whether it be in terms of tax revenues or governance structures, is still very much what it was 150 years ago. So cities actually offer 60% of the services that a citizen receives, with only 8% of the tax revenue. That's just not good enough.
You mentioned the attack ads the Conservatives put out a while ago, and I've heard some jokes about the one where it shows you taking your shirt off, that it would backlash and it would actually get you more votes. What reaction have you gotten from that ad?
I think the reaction is that the Canadians are, tired of being treated like fools. There's something deeply offensive about that kind of negativity and that intense dislike that is being put out there. I mean, I'm never going to be friends with Mr. Harper, but I certainly respect him, for his service to the country, even though I disagree with most of what he does. There's a basic respect that I think Canadians are right to demand from their leaders. So someone showing that level of disrespect is not just, un-Canadian. It's actually kind of insulting to those people who do think that I do have something to offer and is treating them like fools. But the other part of it is that it's so patently false. I mean, it doesn't take a lot for people to realize, he was doing that for charity, and Laureen Harper was in the audience cheering. Actually, she wasn't that year, but she was sitting beside me the year before. It's a willingness to twist the facts that, again, is quite unbecoming for in Canadians' eyes.
Will you bring a change in environmental policies because the Conservatives, they abandoned the Kyoto Protocol in 2011, then we had the oil fiasco, the pipeline fiasco recently. Would you bring a change to the environmental policy?
Absolutely. We need to understand that the only way to build a strong economy in the future is to be responsible about how we're protecting our environment, how we're protecting the ecosystem services, how we're making polluters pay for their pollution. That's how to build a strong economy in the coming years. And the fact that Mr. Harper has completely disregarded any sort of environmental responsibility is actually hurting our economic growth, and that's something that he just cannot see.